This month has certainly proved very busy for RTS game developers, for both showing us new games which are in development and updating those already released, along with organizing playtests. You all gave me many suggestions for extra game news in the comments of my previous videos, and I want you to do the same in this one. Since I can't think of a better way to start a fresh RTS news video, here is the latest update on the development of D.O.R.F, and its naval combat no less. Devs posted this fantastic, fast-paced combat overview of several classes of ships, including those that have hovercraft systems and can apparently travel on land as well, although with much reduced speed. On display are ships from two factions, the brutalist, battle-hardened empire called the Union of Imperial States and the technologically sophisticated and mysterious Triple Consortium. So for now, we stay in the dark when it comes to the junkyard naval war machines of the warband tribes. What I found most interesting in these clips are the number of weapon systems on these ships in different classes. It is clear from the footage that devs have created dedicated destroyers, battleships, missile ships, and even hybrid landing craft. Considering the fact that the naval combat in D.O.R.F is integrated into its overall battles, we can see how powerful ships can be if used as offshore artillery. The art style of these ships perfectly fits the overall gameplay feel of this indie gem, and I'm looking forward to my next interview with the developers, as not only will I ask them all the questions you wrote in the comments of my previous video interview, but also to talk about this new naval gameplay. Link to the previous interview along with the links to all the games shown in this video are in the description below. The other dev team which just blew me away with their content update is the one behind Tempest Rising. Not only did we just get the third faction to join the skirmish and online multiplayer gameplay, at least in the testing beta branch from the 2nd to the 15th of December, but we also got super weapons. On top of these two major additions, there was a big balance patch, adding some very interesting changes you will definitely want to try out on the battlefield. So now all three factions have very distinctive super weapons which have more than a single function. The wetty super weapon is named the Sanctifier Portal, and once the Sanctifier avatar is deployed, it uses pure energy to immolate all ground-based life and matter around it with AoE damage before consuming itself. Its ability to consume ground units, be they friendly or enemy, in the targeted area is not just deadly, but the Sanctifier gains 30% of the consumed unit's health to heal itself. The GDF received the Drone Strike Station super weapon. As you finish construction of it, you gain a bonus to your vision radius, while when you activate it, it drops 9 drone pod turrets onto the battlefield. Each of these lands with a tremendous impact, dealing initial strike damage. Then the turrets unpack, silencing enemies, and these drones stay active for 1 minute. On top of this, combat drones are spawned from each of these drone pod turrets. Lastly, the Tempest Dynasty faction gained the Excavator Platform super weapon. First of all, this building allows you to send drone strike teams on a short cooldown anywhere you have map vision. Its main weapon system is an actual earthquake, which sends multiple pulses of damage to enemy ground targets at a targeted location, while allowing you to deploy Dynasty units at the center of the explosion. This truly feels inspired by past C&C games, while the GDF super weapon expands on its drone focus. The one for the Veti faction fits its overall role perfectly in my opinion. Let me know what you think of these two additions to Tempest Rising in the comments below. A space RTS in development, which I'm very interested in, but whose developer was silent for a very long time until just a few days ago, is Fragile Existence. Fortunately, we just received both a huge development update and new gameplay footage. This shows us how escort/fighter craft work in this game now. These are launched from hangar base and by default will maintain a position around its home base, but you can detach these small craft whenever you like and send them ahead to check out the rest of the system. Most importantly, they are now fast and can serve a proper scouting or escort duty. As for other elements that have been worked on, the dev mentioned the UI as his focus because most of his gameplay elements are already working as planned. considering the player has to manage multiple capital ships and numerous smaller vessels or ground-based units, and everything is highly modular in composition. The complexity of the game is high and in need of a simple and helpful UI. In addition to working on the UI, the dev describes adding the commander's log, which acts as an in-game encyclopedia listing information about every item, faction, unit, structure and planet you have access to or came across. Fragile Existence will have multi-threading used for some of the gameplay, as the dev has improved his own programming skills along with the game. What is left mostly is mission scripting, storytelling and improvements across the board, so while this dev might not be great at posting timely dev blogs, he is working towards a final version at a good pace for such a massive game. Now, for a game company for which I have lost all respect a long time ago and which I have nicknamed Creative Disassembly, decided to treat their fans, and in a 25-year anniversary video no less, to an announcement of early pre-production for Total War Medieval 3. The only problem is, this live trailer was supposed to satisfy fans' desire for such a game, but ended up backfiring, as this just means we are going to be waiting another 5 years or so for its release. Or maybe longer if this turns into an announcement like Bethesda's The Elder Scrolls 6 back in 2018. We are still waiting, Todd. Anyway, they also announced an announcement for another Total War game, about which we are going to get a teaser on the 11th of December at the Game Awards event. What a way to end the video. I mean, feel free to share in the comments from 1 to 10 how you scored this whole event. So the only gold nugget of this video advertisement for shareholders of Sega that the folks from Creative Disassembly posted as their 25th anniversary video is that they have actually gone and made a new engine, and we got to see it in action, unlike the two new games. Finally, after ruining a dozen titles with tech debt, the next proper Total War titles are going to benefit from a lot of advances and even a physics engine. This new game engine is going to support new lighting techniques, dynamic shadowing, improved ambient occlusion, higher count and resolution of meshes and textures, and new ribbon tech for projectile VFX effects. They have even integrated the Havoc physics engine, and now buildings can be destroyed in sections and dynamically. This is, my friends, one silver lining of this hour-and-a-half showcase. Now, you might have noticed that the new developers in charge of Dawn of War 4 have been posting regular dev blogs and even created a closed invitation-only alpha for their game. But the latest reveal has definitely blown the top of the Warhammer 40k fanbase, as the new cinematic story trailer just revealed that the Lionel Johnson Primarch of the Dark Angels will be landing on Kronos in Dawn of War 4.
War has returned to Kronos.
Another fan-favorite character showed up in the trailer, the orc war boss Gorguts, who seems to be still alive and plotting destruction on the Empire. One thing that really upgraded my anticipation level for this game is the fact that the campaign storyline was written by John French, an accomplished Warhammer book writer for Black Library. Most importantly, all this means is that as we play the missions in the campaign, we are going to be able to pick between Dark Angels and Blood Ravens. This is outstanding and will not only increase replayability, but also spice up the game with more Space Marine content fans always appreciate. One more interesting bit of official info is that these missions with different Space Marine chapters are non-linear. Feel free to share which chapter are you more excited for in the comments below. On the gameplay side of things, we have learned that the Last Stand game mode will be back in Dawn of War 4. If you don't know, this is a horde-like mode where you defend against waves of enemies and can level up your characters, unlocking new skills and equipment. Other playable game modes will include skirmish and multiplayer for up to 6 players. Lastly, the Painter tool will also be available, so we can customize our units just how we like them. Now allow me to make a big blast from the past with Earth 2140, but in a new light, as it has been remade in the OpenRA engine by some of the most talented individuals. This is a modernized version of Earth 2140 with new features and built from the ground up, so almost like an unofficial remake. But do note, this is not only an early access alpha state version, but it also requires you to have a digital copy of the original game installed on your PC. As for what is going to be changed and added are modern features like attack move, shift queued orders and new instances, along with improved UI with a production sidebar, online and LAN multiplayer, replays and a map editor. The devs are adding desperately needed quality of life improvements, native support for Windows, Mac OS and even Linux. Next, I want to invite you to the playtest of Panzer Strike, for which you can register using their Steam page and which will begin this December. This is a retro-looking World War II real-time combat game which might lack base building, but makes up for it with massive maps which can have thousands of units. These include artillery, infantry and of course lots of tanks and other vehicles. The factions are USSR and Germany, with the stage set on the Eastern Front for the playtest. You'll be able to use some of the most famous weapon systems from both warring sides, including Panzer IIIs and IVs, as well as Panther Ds and Tiger Is, putting them against T-34s, IS-2s and Su-85s, along many others. I am sure you will have lots of fun in this one. And another playtest I want to invite you to is for Crescent Freedom, a totally new indie RTS game I showed you just in the last RTS news video, and yet you can already apply for its 4-day playtest, meaning the developers kept their promise about letting you play it before the year ends. That is on the 10th of December to be exact, and you get to play as the Red Rebellion faction going up against Orbis Concordia faction played by the game's AI. This is a sci-fi base building RTS which features 3 asymmetrical factions, while its focus will be on single player experience and skirmish, but multiplayer will be a feature too. It looks like a mix of several well-known and loved AAA RTS games, but its devs are designing it to have a somewhat slower gameplay so it can be enjoyed by a wide range of gamers. Another totally new RTS game, but one which I have never shown you before, is titled Final Strategy. Naturally, as most of these, it is a solo indie project, but at least it has this trailer so we can see what it is about. Its setting is the turn of the millennium with modern conflicts, which marked the battlefields of the 1990s and early 2000s. One of the most interesting features is the first-person control of any unit, but do note this is not an FPS RTS hybrid. It certainly still looks rough, but I hope you will check out its Steam store page and maybe wishlist it to help out the developer. The footage shows artillery, infantry, all sorts of vehicles, including helicopters, aircraft and even drones. One small detail I know many of you will appreciate is that individual soldiers are actually to scale when it comes to vehicles. The only downside is they don't appear to be in squads. Now a game that has infantry squads and whose alpha I have shown you a lot and even did an interview with its developers is Ashes of the Singularity 2. But now I have not only a fresh gameplay trailer of it for this video, but I will soon have access to its newest playable build and even be able to show you more of its features like the full economy, technology tree used to unlock advanced units, orbitals and production boosts. These orbitals can let the player temporarily scout areas or even drop units behind enemy lines. Some of the largest maps will allow for up to 7 AI opponents, meaning 8 players on the map. Not all of the maps I will be able to show you are custom built, so besides the 7 maps for single player and 2 for multiplayer, others are procedurally generated by an in-game map making system the player can control to an extent. The only part that is most limiting is that the only faction I can show you is the United Earth Forces, or UEF for short, meaning it's going to be only mirror matches for now. But with a release date set for 2026, I hope to be able to show you much more of this exciting new massive scale RTS in the coming months. In my journey to become a full-time content creator on YouTube, I'm helped by companies like Slitherine when they sponsor me to show you not some service or product you don't want or need, but another game you just might enjoy. So this time I have for you RuneQuest Warlords. It is built on the same engine as Warhammer 40k Battle Sector, with a turn-based gameplay full of mythical creatures and set in a fantasy Bronze Age. This is a single-player focused game with 18 missions for you to enjoy and 3 factions to choose from. Each faction has unique units and heroes who have special abilities they can use in combat. That combat is based on unit action points spent on every type of action across a grid-based map where terrain and positioning provide real tactical depth. I will show you this and much more with a full showcase on my second channel, and it will be linked here on the right and down in the description. I should also point out that on the 9th of December, Slitherine will host an online event showing us many more games and updates for them, including Warhammer 40k Gladius and Battle Sector, as well as Panzer Corps 2, Starship Troopers Terran Command and Broken Arrow, so use the link in the description and mark it in your calendar. Next up is one of your suggestions that kept coming up in the comments of previous videos, which is Call to Arms Gates of Hell and its latest DLC titled Finest Hour, which is already available on Steam. This game has found so many fans and has really good reviews, so despite me personally never finding the time to get into it, you can find no shortage of endorsements from other players. The content in this latest DLC is quite substantial, with 20 new multiplayer maps, 25 new conquest maps, 2 single-player campaigns with a total of 12 storyline missions and 4 skirmishes between them about the Commonwealth and Germany forces. There are also hundreds of new vehicles and soldier models, as well as equipment items. Rarely are DLCs for games which already have many well received, but interestingly enough, this one already has many positive reviews. So you should probably try to get into this game sooner rather than later. If you have any tips for me, leave them in the comments. Now, a game which I wish had as many reviews is Moduwar, because it is exactly what so many of you have been asking for, a unique new RTS experience. Based on water and with a mobile base no less, and that even isn't the main appeal, as your units are biological in nature, so you grow both your units and your base, being able to merge and split them as you wish.
Everyone, now, get to the hovercrafts! Move!
Its devs kept working on it, adding both more single-player missions and new features. I recently played its 6th mission, in which you combat a flying enemy biological unit, which leads to your module learning its abilities and letting you grow your own hive organ, which launches deadly flying wasps that can bypass obstacles and attack distant enemies. This is just some of the new stuff, so I hope more of you will check it out. When it comes to far more old-school RTS games, I have news on the TFC The Fertile Crescent, as it has not only found a publisher, but made great progress with a 1.3 patch and is now available both on Steam and GOG, while it's playable on Steam Deck. This retro RTS, with a very familiar base building and unit combat system, received new maps, a big balance change, and a host of performance improvements across the board. If you're interested in trying it out, it is still on sale and very affordable with a low price tag. Its Bronze Age setting allows for low-tech units, but there is a Tech 3 in the game, while you can play with 3 different Eastern civilizations. There is a campaign, skirmish or horde mode, and multiplayer for up to 4 players. As for free games, there is rarely one that has more players or fans as Beyond All Reason, and its talented developers have done an engine upgrade which brings numerous improvements. The Recall engine is based on the Spring engine, which is very old, but with upgrades like these, the game is looking and working better than ever. First, now we have much smoother unit animations, which are unlocked from the previous 30Hz tick rate and now update at your monitor's refresh rate. Second, the unit limit is no longer locked to what it was when you started the match. The more players leave, the more free unit slots are given to the remaining players, allowing for even more massive battles as numbers of players go from 16 to 100 or more. This has led to the birth of the King of the Hill gameplay mode and other asymmetrical game setups. With this engine upgrade came a number of other quality of life improvements, like up to 10 mouse keybinds, minimap rotation, and many more you can read on their official Discord. Another game you can play for free is a version of HN4 Sparta HD. Its devs created this separate Steam store page from which you can download a free version of their game, which includes some single-player content and multiplayer. You can experience playing with 2 different factions, 1 mission from each of the 3 campaigns, and ranked multiplayer mode. If you're interested in making maps, you can also do that in the editor included in this free version. Content updates are planned by the devs for every month, bringing fresh civilizations and battlegrounds. One of the most interesting features of this game is the ability to craft your own units during battles by equipping them with new weapons and armor unlocked by tech upgrades. If you enjoyed the modern setting for RTS games more, then you might have already tried out Red Chaos The Strict Order, and I'm here to tell you about its latest updates. First of all, devs have added one of the hallmark RTS features, meaning that engineers can now take over enemy buildings. Second, besides changing the overall balance between the two factions and their units to make battles last longer and feel more strategic, devs adjusted all projectile units based on player feedback. This has led to increased grenade launcher, tank and missile troop damage against buildings to prepare for the next set of gameplay improvements. Third, there is now a new 4-player map and new voice lines for units. Devs originally started with more of a focus on making the gameplay fit the multiplayer style of gameplay, but due to feedback, have decided to make it more skirmish and single-player friendly. If you have already played it, let me know your impressions of it so far and have you tried this new balance. Another game which is still in development but that you can play and for free is Soil. Its lone dev has been working diligently on creating a space sci-fi ship combat game which has both a mobile base and lots of fleet battle options. His latest update has improved the visuals of unit construction, gas clouds and added new models and textures for several ships and structures for both factions. However, the main point of this update is the sensors, namely the sensor subsystem now provides coverage in a cone in front of a ship. Cone width, maximum distance and distance at which strength starts to fade is determined by subsystem stats. Strength is also reduced by how much the subsystem is damaged and by how fast the ship is moving or turning. You can see the cone in sensor view and see strength in the UI along with more info in the tooltip. As you detect enemy objects by sensors, they first become visible as an unknown contact, then all information is revealed at higher coverage. At what sensor strength object is detected and fully revealed is dependent on its stats. Generally, large objects are detected sooner than small objects. For example, battleships will be much easier to detect than frigates. There is a lot of nuance here, but I will let you discover it for yourselves as you download Soil's newest test version and share your feedback with the dev on his Discord. I have 2 more game updates for you before the end of this video, but I also have 2 more totally new games I have never shown you before. The first of these is titled Cheeselords. Hilarious, I know. It is really an RTS game where you fight for delicious cheese on faraway planets in a sci-fi setting. It is somewhat of a mix between Samurai Jack, if you know that old cartoon from Cartoon Network, and Star Wars. Its dev plans to have a working campaign, skirmish, PvP multiplayer and co-op along with a map editor. There is resource gathering, base building and unit combat during which you will be able to use formations and a quick macro panel. Please do wishlist this one as I'm dying to see how it turns out. The second fresh game is titled Dwarven Rampart and it already has a demo you can download at its Steam store page. What this game offers is building Dwarven cities and massive armies in a fantasy setting with some roguelike features. There are already 5 main resources in the game with several ways to collect or grow these. The gameplay is based on protecting your own castle with walls and units, while there is a system of decks that allows you to customize what type of units will be helping you survive each run. Some types of dwarves have high damage but low health, while others are no more than dummies with a ton of HP. There is even a system of synergies for buildings which you have to discover to be more efficient at resource collection. As for already released games which keep getting updated, we have Godsworn, which is one of my favorites, and not only because of its fantasy setting and heroes that level up and unlock new spells, but also because of just how well crafted its campaign missions are.
And so a temporary truce was established.
And now the developers have confirmed the full campaign will have a total of 16 missions, as they are working on releasing the second act and some of these to us to play. These should be ready in December or potentially January, so we don't have much more to wait. With this Act 2 of the campaign, Godsworn will receive a totally new hero, while 2 of the older ones will become playable in the campaign. With these come 8 new units, including the Cockatrice, which I mentioned previously, along with 2 skirmish maps, 16 new glyphs, and a whole lot of other changes and improvements. Feel free to share your experience with this one so far in the comments below. Last but not least, another of my favorites just got an update concerning its Undead faction. This is Diplomacy is not an option at its finest, allowing us more insane units and fun gameplay. With this update, the Undead finally have special platforms from which they can shoot further, and the new unit called the Hunting Fiend fits this role perfectly. Then there is the Thundering Amalgam, a new artillery unit which is an improved version of Machine of Flesh with its own strengths and weaknesses. Other undead units have been tweaked or changed so that there are more variants for different combat uses. To make this faction playable, devs have added a whole new exclusive research tree with 64 individual techs as well as a different economy and the Dealer Worm special market building. There certainly are many more updates and new games which I will show you in the next video, including a deep look at the new Command & Conquer online platform on which you can play a whole set of C&C games in multiplayer. So stay tuned in for far more RTS content and use the links in the description or cards on the screen to see it all. Thank you for watching and happy gaming!